Hi, Mr. Alex Lever.
Hi there.
Good morning.
Thanks.
First off, congrats on your impressive World Cup career.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah? Okay, I got a question for you.
Sure.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you the question, ankle flexion? What about ankle flexion?
Ankle flexion makes me think of like activity, movement, because you know, it's the opposite of being stagnant. When you're stagnant, you have no ankle flexion, then that's when you get in the back seat, that's when you get thrown. When you have ankle flexion, you're moving, that's when you can be active and you can adjust with terrain and through anything. And so ankle flexion is huge. It's all about moving forward in the course.
All right, CU athlete Chase Seymour, home hill.
Oh, yeah.
Psych. Chase, tell me about ankle flexion. You laughed when I mentioned that to you earlier. How come?
You know, as a kid, I was always told like, yeah, ankle flexion, ankle flexion, ankle flexion. I just assumed like it's obvious, you know, I always have it. And here I am, you know, 8-9 years later, still thinking about ankle flexion, because it's just the most simple, fundamental thing that everyone needs to have in their skiing.
Why?
It just allows you to be in a position where you can react and attack instead of be reactive, and it allows you to build speed, pressure your ski, really anything that you're trying to accomplish. By building speed, you need to have ankle flexion to do it.
That's so good, Chase. Yeah. Okay, for you personally, last question, do you have a cue in how do you achieve ankle flexion?
Mostly I think about just flexing my outside ankle hard, because if I'm flexing my outside ankle, that means I'm also on my outside ski.
Okay.
And that's all I think about. Flex my outside ankle, just absolutely crush it at the top of the turn and continue it through to the next one.
That outside ankle at the top of the turn, that's your uphill foot.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Old inside foot, new outside foot, perfectly right away into ankle flexion, right into the top of the turn.
Chase, thank you.
My pleasure.
Good luck on this hill.
Thank you.
Have a blast.
Should be fun.
Yeah, rooting for you, Chase.
Yep. Go, mate.
All right, boys.
Above.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Deb.
First off, how was the course up there, that first qualifying run?
For me, it was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, fast.
It's been a while since I've been in gates, since Taos last year, but you know, it's like riding a bike on this grippy Colorado snow. As long as you're not sliding, you can go pretty fast.
Okay, so Michael, here's my question.
Yes.
Ankle flexion.
Yep.
What do you think about when it comes to ankle flexion?
Yeah, great question, because there's like a million different ways you can describe it. I've had some coaches tell me to pick my toes up in my boot, which will flex my dorsal muscle on the front of my shin. What I like to explain to some of my newer skiers that I ski with is just think about constantly having your knees over your toes.
I like it.
And that naturally brings it there for me.
Yeah. And for you, is it a fundamental of skiing? It's kind of an obvious question, isn't it?
Yep.
But a lot of people can't relate to it. A lot of people don't really get it.
Yeah. Well, if you think about skiing, everything happens on the snow. So you want to start from the ground up. And so the first thing is your ankles. Ankles, knees, hips. That's the order of operations.
That's awesome. Michael, thank you and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay, you
All
got
right.
it.
See you guys. Have fun.
Yep.
I'm Caitlin Horsch.
And how do you find ankle flexion?
How do I personally do it?
Yeah, how do you find it? How do you do it?
I just kind of pull my feet back and kind of think about that, and like driving your knees forward at the same time. It's kind of like a compound movement.
Okay, cool.
Like that.
My name is Tuva Norby.
When I say ankle flexion, what comes to your mind?
Creating angles and creating power.
Power.
Yeah.
Is there a particular time in the turn you think about it?
Yeah, I try to think about it, like get ahead and like over my outside ski going into the turn, and then the ankle flexion is really important to not fall behind, to really get on top of your turn and really create speed out of it.
Do you have a particular cue for achieving ankle flexion for you?
Not particularly. In slalom though, specifically, I like to use the pole, like the pointing with a, what do you call it? The
Pole plant?
pole plant? Yeah, exactly. To really get ahead, and like that's when I know I should start going over.
I love
So
it.
yeah,
Thank
I use
you.
that in parallel as well. So that's definitely going to be used today.
My name is Stein Holsnes, born and raised in Norway. I'm 68 years old and still enjoying ski racing.
And you know a thing or two about pro racing, don't you?
I raced on a pro tour from 79 to 87.
And you're still racing, Masters.
I'm doing Masters now.
So let me ask you what I'm asking everybody else. When I say ankle flexion, what comes up in your mind?
Well, what comes up in my mind with that, it's you gotta use the ankle to feel the inside of your foot so you can feel the edge of the ski.
I like it.
Is that a good answer?
Well, does it work for you?
Yeah, it worked for me.
Well, then it's a good answer.
Yeah, okay.
If it works, then that's we're looking for
Yeah.
that magic bullet. You know, we're
Yeah.
looking for the secret.
You want to do some slalom turns?
You go. I'm following you. Yeah. Oh yeah, this guy knows how to get it done. I like it. Keep it going. That's sweet. So if flexing of the ankles is so easy, how is it that...
It's easy to understand. I did not say it's easy. Or I didn't mean to say it's easy.
Oh, thank you.
It's incredibly difficult to do. But it's easy to understand. It's a simple concept to have pressure on the tongue of your boot.
Right.
That's easy to understand.
Yeah.
But as with most things in ski racing, it's simple to understand, but incredibly difficult to do. And so that was my comment about the easiness.
Why do you think it's so difficult to do? I mean, what's your thought on that for one?
Why is bending your ankles difficult? Well, that's a really good question, Deb. I think it's psychological. I think you get into, when you are on a flat hill with no speed and zero jeopardy, almost anybody can do it. A beginner could do it. But you start picking up a little bit of speed. You start being told where to turn, like in a course environment. You got to turn here, not just wherever you want. Then the anxiety level increases, the jeopardy increases, and I think the natural inclination, to compare it to horseback riding, is to pull back on the reins a little bit, just naturally. And it has to do with trust and confidence and all that, but I think that's probably why it's so difficult. There's some kids that are very naturally really good with risk. They're ballsy kids. They aren't afraid to get out of their comfort zone and to do things. Typically, those are the kids that don't have the ankle flexion concern or problem, because they're just extremely confident, trusting, and aggressive. But most of us aren't like that. And I remember that was a key thing in my ski racing career, is I was told for I remember 3 or 4 years, put your shin on the front of your boot. Made sense to me, but I couldn't do it until one day I did it, and it changed my whole life. But I remember personally how difficult it was to do.